let's talk about the one civilization that truly thrives in the grim darkness of the far future. The Orks are the fungi-based green boys of the galaxy, who have many weird and interesting quirks about them, including their power of belief, a storied history so far in the past that it's been stepped into legend, with it only really being able to be recounted by Necrons, who recount their own perspectives, with it already being skewed enough. But them thinking that they were the best that could ever do it, and could never do anything wrong. With a tragic downfall, of course. There's one thing that most civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy won't tell you, and that is, Orks is best, and here's why. These grim, dim-witted Xenos races have been seen as the comic relief of Warhammer 40k, with them being a bunch of goofballs. Or maybe I should say gothballs. Get it? Gothballs. In fact, once upon a time, when the War of Heaven was happening, there were a bunch of very intelligent, psychic, hyper-advanced dudes, with them at that time being labeled as Orks. It wasn't until their masters all died and the threat went to sleep, with them not having anybody to fight against with their full power. They did have an undying thirst for warfare, and they decided to conduct war on themselves instead. And using a bit of speculative zoology, I'm going to say that a smart Ork that knows that the gradual degradation of his race is happening would survive for a horribly short time compared to a stupid one that just wanted to run at things and chop them apart, then becoming small runts, even though they're like 6 foot tall, hunched over. Their wisdom dwindled, their weapons became minimalistic, with their weapons sometimes being able to work with a magazine port being filled with sticks and other random debris, but there's sometimes not even being a barrel for any Daka to be fired out of. Don't be mean to them though, that just means they couldn't afford a small hand drill for their minis. With the mechanics of the Imperium, the Adeptus Mechanicus, not being able to understand these dumb stupid weapons, with the weapons not shooting when they're in the hands of the Mechanicus, and sometimes working with vehicles too. Usually, writers often switch back and forth on if Orks are killing machines or incompetent and just kind of silly. I like a little bit of both, though. Being a scary green tide while some of them are still actually just really incompetent is very funny to me. I think some get by surviving off of the power of belief alone. That being said, the Orkish power belief is broken. It is something that can help with their rivalry of all their other races, with it doing things like having Ork clans specialize in what they do well, including becoming bigger, odder, faster, and dockier, while also allowing things like the giant Ork Gargant Stompas and Speedwads to exist. All of this also boosts their weaponry and Ork fightiness. This can range from the ever meet me on a tank incident, the deathly tale of Orks who were notified that their body could not survive in the vacuum of space where they would instead explode, but them having that fate occur to them after they talked to Orks in spacesuits, or the crackpot theory that the Emperor is kept alive by them. You know what would help keep this channel alive? You showing some interest in lore discussions and by hitting that like and subscribe button. The only real thing that Orks need is to fight. This is to the point that the meaning of life for an Ork is to fight, with it being the most fun thing an Ork can do, them relishing in fighting with others, and especially their nemesis. For example, the most active warboss of all the Orks, Ghazghkull Mad Uruk Thraka, has a nemesis, Sebastian Kamazar Yarrick, who killed an Ork warboss after losing his arm, and then took the warboss's arm and made it his own, while also getting a laser eye. He's a personal favorite combatant for good old Wa Ghazghkull, and this is the closest an Ork can ever get to loving anything, and I'll defend this till the day I die. Ghazghkull loves Yarrick, wanting to fight him over and over again, while Yarrick has sworn his life to the protection of Armageddon. They're life partners. Basically life partners. And I'll see you guys next Valentine's Day for a full episode about that. The Orks want to engage in kissing people so hard with whatever weapon they have on them at that very time that their gods are based around it. Ork is brutal but cunning, and Ork is cunningly brutal. Or maybe it's the other way around. Who cares? The Orks pick one and decide to fight each other over which god is better. Because why not? Any excuse to fight for them is a good excuse. Wa energy is pretty crazy too. It not only helps promote growth for the Orks, but also acts as a beacon to the other Orks in nearby solar systems to come over to some place and have a little fun. That fun being an all-out war against the Imperium, Necrons, Nids, or anything else they could fight against. This helps the Ork changing their ability to fight when they walk, with it on tabletop allowing things like boys being able to hit better, and vehicles moving a bit faster. Don't worry, the Orks got their own self-renewing economy too. Teeth, or as they lovingly call them, teeth, are the go-to currency for Orks. This works for the orcs because they're more successful in their war-hungry ways with the more money they get from the more things they kill. If you kill more stuff, you get more teeth, and if you get more teeth, you get more purchasing power. This purchasing power can also be done just by punching an orc in the face. Some orcs even punch themselves square in the face to get some money so they can buy an eating squig with it, or any other tasty squig equivalent. For the most part, the workforce of orc settlements is the Meks and the Gretchin, with the boys sometimes pitching in too, where they all just kind of agree to do stuff if they want something done. Squigs even help out in symbiosis with the orcs, providing things like transport, health benefits, and cures. Squigs are a subspecies from the orc fungus that are literally used for everything, from eating, grenades, walking mines, fuel, and many more uses. Like having a face-eating contest with one of them. Face-eating squig on top, baby! Orc culture is also based around following the biggest and the baddest ork, and for that reason society is pretty stable. None fall to the powers of chaos due to them just wanting to fight on sight, although in previous editions it did say that some of them went to Khorne, including Storm Boys, but as of 10th edition that was kind of retconned out. Orcs still do infight quite a bit, but their squabbles help the dominant orcs get further up the social ladder and become war bosses. When they become old, crotchety, and bad, they mess up in some way, and another orc kills them, taking their spot. While being a self-contained system, it is still kind of rocky, but governing is very easy. They have crazy spores. Like other mushrooms, they can spread spores once they dry up and die. Orcs replenish their population through these spores, and they can spread very passively, with orcs just airing a bit out whenever they waddle their way around whatever planet or space stations they might be found in. Whatever culture an orc is from, their genetics and traits are passed down. This makes it so that orcs that are bigger and larger have more offspring out there. In recent history, Gazvil might have a bunch of smarter, more adaptive orcs growing from his spores. From him not only being alive for a long time, but he also has a whole body left behind on Fenris. When Wolflord Rangar Blackmane, damn that's a cool name, cut off his head, with another famous orc, Mad Doc Broxnick, saving his life by sewing his head onto a new body. When an orc is brutally dispatched in any way, their body has spores that explode outward and scatter with the viscera on the battlefield, going everywhere. For this reason, it's almost impossible to get rid of orcs on a planet, unless it is completely and utterly wiped off the face of the planet, with every singular living thing on the planet getting killed by a virus bomb or exterminatus. By the Imperium, anyway. On planets that are a little bit too important to the Imperium, but had a giant orc wall to them, orcs always come back up and start regrowing. Another large-scale war happening. This didn't happen on Holy Terra when the beast, a Krork that was still alive, attacked it, though. Probably because a lot of the people and the armies of the Imperium made sure there wasn't any orcoid fungus anywhere near Terra afterwards. So you might be asking why this all matters. Every single faction in Warhammer 40k is overpowered beyond belief, but there being something weird or wacky that makes everybody ridiculously overpowered. The Necrons exist. The Space Marines have so many things in their body that the Emperor gave them that I can't even go through it. The Eldar got crazy mind magic. Well, most people do, but they're really good at it. And there are so many Imperial Guard that they stop most conflicts by just throwing bodies at it. And the Orcs have their power of belief. And while the Orcs are getting some of their cutting back through their leaders, chaos looms over the galaxy, and the Imperium now has 2 Primarchs. 2 active Primarchs. So why would I call them the best? It's simple. The Orcs were literally made for and engineered to be a race perfectly fit for the galaxy they're in. They're accustomed to the environment more than any other race. Don't believe me? Why not? I just went through a whole video talking about how cool they are. Not only how their social, economic, and philosophical quandaries are all perfectly catered to their universe, but okay. I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to be petty. I already said it in a video, none of you watched it, I don't blame you. The editing is so-so, and it's kind of complicated for a simple game turned into a 30-minute video essay. But I'm going to roll some footage that's taken from a codex, straight from the proverbial horse's mouth, because it's way easier for me to do that, and I think I already nailed the quote pretty well. The Orks are the very pinnacle of creation. For them, the great struggle is won. They have evolved a society which knows no stress or angst. Who are we to judge them? The Eldar who have failed, or the humans on the road to ruin in their turn? And why?
because we sought answers to questions that an orc wouldn't even bother to ask. We see a culture that is strong and despise it as crude. Eldar Philosopher Uthan the Perverse. Millennium 41.
So what do you guys think? Is green the best? Could I get my dream job of being a video game voice actor from that quote alone? If not Orks, what is best? Make sure to tell me in the comments down below. And if you want me to be a voice actor in your video game, contact me via bullet decals on a Team Fortress 2 Minecraft trade server. It's the only secure way to communicate nowadays. Till next video, fellas.